Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another webinar being hosted by Secure Intelligence Limited. My name is Dozier. I'm an SDR here at CIL, and I would like to welcome each and every one of you once again to another interesting webinar. Our topic for today is unlocking the future, navigating the landscape of generative AI. We'll be discussing how we'll be harnessing the development and integration potential of generative AI in the digital landscape. But before we proceed, there are a few ground rules I'd like to introduce everyone to. So firstly, I'd like everyone to know that this session is being recorded and will be uploaded on our social media channels. So if you miss any part of this webinar, you can always visit our social media channels or our YouTube channel, where a web replay will be uploaded for you to rewatch. Also, attendees can ask questions or drop comments in the Q&A section of this webinar. During this webinar presentation, your questions and comments will be answered and addressed during and after the webinar. And if you require further inquiries or you'd like to book a consultation with our team, a link to our consultation will be sent to the Q&A section, so you can click on the link to book a consultation with us. All right, so for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, I would like to give you a brief introduction about who we are and what we do here at CIL. So Secure Intelligence Limited teams are solution builders. We apply technology to drive effectiveness, agility, and growth for businesses. We are also positioned to help enterprises scale globally. We have four major pillars we work with, and the first is global mindset, multi-cloud competence, agility, and growth. All right, so before we move on to the agenda of today's webinar, I would like to introduce us to the two key speakers for our webinar today. Firstly, we have Ayomide, who is a certified cloud and machine learning engineer. We also have Oluwabamiche, also a certified cloud and machine learning engineer. They'll be walking us through today's agenda and also be presenting on today's webinar. So Ayomide and Oluwabamiche, it's good to have you guys. So you can take up from here.
Okay, thank you very much, Jose. Good afternoon, good day, everyone. My name is Oluwabamiche from CIL. So I will be walking you through with the webinar, but firstly, I will start talking about the agenda for today. We'll be talking about what is generative AI, firstly, what is about, how it is being powered by foundational models and its use cases, and then we'll be walking you through some demo and responsible AI. So with me is Ayomide. So Ayomide will be taking over from me. He'll be walking you through from foundational model. We talk about the use cases and you walk you through the demo. Well, we come back later to talk about responsible AI and also walk you through the demo. So in the next slide, we'll be talking about what generative AI is. But before then, I would like to lay some background knowledge or story rather now. So recently I was in a seminar, a tech seminar. So and the CEO of a popular traveling agency company was there to give his talk. And he was talking about how all these buzzwords in tech now, they are just being used to maybe cover for bad business ideology and all, that people that don't know how to manage their business, they're just using tech to cover for it. Actually, I was surprised that some people have that kind of mentality. But from my conversation with a lot of people, I think the same case applies to them. And I just want us to know that generative AI is not just another buzzword in tech world. It's just to say a lot of companies, industry are using it to transform their workflow process, increase employee productivity and all. So now to today's topic, generative AI. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that is being used to generate new content. And when I'm talking about content now, we're talking from text, images, video, music, audio, any form of content. And because generative AI is a subcategory of artificial intelligence itself, so it could mimic human intelligence. So anything that human can do, from natural language processing, maybe summarizing text, converting from one language to another, generative AI could do this. In the next slide, we'll be talking furthermore on what generative AI is. And also, generative AI can be trained. You can train it and fine-tune it to learn about your specific use cases. For example, you have a business now. You want to build a solution using AI, artificial intelligence, to increase your productivity. So instead of having a general purpose AI, you can fine-tune it or train these models to understand your specific domain knowledge in details. So I'll be hand over from this moment now to Ayomide to walk you through the main part of the webinar. Over to you, Ayomide.
Thank you so much, Bamshe, for the wonderful introduction. So today we'll be talking about generative AI, as my colleague Bamshe has said. So generative AI is one of the new days technology that is advancing the world of application building, and it is transforming major industries in the world. So generative AI is powered by various foundational models. So you can train your generative AI model on vast amounts of structured and unstructured data from the internet or from various data sources. So you can train your generative AI with data from whichever sources you want, and then you can start integrating your Gen AI model into your application for your various use cases. So the model contains large number of parameters. So that is why the model is capable of learning complex concepts, and the model can be used to solve various problems and needs. And also the model can be applied in a wide range of contexts. For example, the model can be used to help developers find quick and accurate answers to technical questions. So for example, your developers can use Gen AI model to get technical questions on their code. And also, the model can also be customized using data for domain-specific tasks. So for example, the model can be trained on information about medical industry only to help people in the medical industry achieve better results and can aid them in working faster. So you can bring any foundational models, and you can find there is a term called fine tuning in generative AI, which you can fine tune any foundational model into your domain specific model, just so it can help you solve your needs in your domain activities. And also, generative AI is transforming. Sorry, can you move to the next slide, please? Okay, so generative AI creates significant business values. So generative AI is helping people and users of application achieve new experiences. So generative AI can be used to create new innovative and engaging ways of interacting with customers and employees. For example, by the use of chatbots. So generative AI can be used to build chatbots in which the user of your application can use to achieve new experience, and also to change the way application is being built nowadays. And generative AI is also enhancing productivity. So it is radically improving productivity across all lines of business. For example, by using Amazon Code Whisperer, it is helping to complete tasks 57% faster. And also, you can use generative AI to extract insights and clear answers from all your corporate information, enabling faster and better decisions. So, for example, you can build a model about your domain specific task. So by training the model with your domain data, so you can easily extract insights and answer various questions using the model. And also, generative AI is also enhancing creativity. So you can use generative AI to create new content and ideas, including conversations. So you can use to create images, you can use to create videos, you can use to create stories, music, and so on. The next slide. So generative AI is also enhancing customer experience. So for example, by building chatbots and virtual assistant, which will which will help your users to get whatever they need faster. And also you can use generative AI is also being used for personalization, which is also one of the things you are going to see later on. And also generative AI is boosting employee productivity by using it for conversational search, for content localization. You can use generative AI to create text, to create images, to generate video. You can use for text summarization, for code generation, and so on and so forth. And also generative AI is improving business operations. So you can use generative AI for content moderation, you can use to detect anomalies in your various industry. And you can also, and it's also used for, it's also enhancing creativity by using it to create videos, to create image, to create animations, and so on and so forth. Next slide. So in the next slide now, so we'll be talking about how generative AI is transforming all industries. So generative AI is transforming all industries nowadays. So that's where the saying comes from, that generative AI is here to stay and to help us in achieving better things in technology at large. So generative AI is transforming the financial service industries, the retail industries, healthcare and life sciences, automotive, the oil and gas industry, manufacturing industry, and almost all the industries we have nowadays. So for example, in the financial industries, generative AI can help financial services transform their customer service. It can help them in marketing and more, just so it can help them to improve experience, to innovate faster, to reduce their costs, and also to grow revenue. So it can help the people in the financial industry to make online interactions conversational. It can also help them in making complex data intuitively accessible. And also it can help them to generate content at the click of a button. And also generative AI is also helping the people in the oil and gas a lot. So generative AI has the potential to revolutionize the oil and gas industry by optimizing refinery processes from crude oil distillation to product blending, and it's helping them to optimize their yield, and also for the maintenance of the equipment and machinery. You can also integrate generative AI in that, and also it is also helping them to manage their risk and to monitor their operations in real time. Also, generative AI is helping the people in the healthcare and life science industry. So the healthcare and life science industries have witnessed remarkable advancements in recent years, and that's thanks primarily to the integration of generative AI technologies. So generative AI technologies, including deep learning models and networks, is revolutionizing the way medical professionals diagnose diseases, and also the way they develop pharmaceuticals, drugs, and bring them to market, and it is enhancing patient care. So generative AI can also be used to predict patient outcomes and disease progression by analyzing the EHRs and other patient data. So the models can help the healthcare providers to make more informed decisions about treatment options, resource allocations, and patient care. So now I'm going to walk you through what the generative AI is and how to get started using generative AI. The first thing we are going to be talking about, so now we've talked to you about what generative AI is, how it's transforming various industries and various use cases. So I believe most of you will be having that question in mind, that, okay, so this is what this generative AI is used for. So now how do we get started with it? So you can start building your generative AI applications maybe in your on-premises or in the cloud. So, but just know that if you want to start doing that in your premises, you have to go about preparing server, buying servers, configuring, and all of that. So it is much more easier when you start building in the cloud. For example, by making use of Amazon Web Service. So Amazon Web Service is making building of generative AI easier. So there is a service in AWS called Amazon Bedrock, which is enhancing building of generative AI application by making making you build your Generative application in a matter of days or weeks instead of waiting for months or years as it used to be before now. So I'm going to show you a brief demonstration on Amazon Bedrock. So Amazon Bedrock is a fully managed service that makes high-performing foundational models from leading AI startups and Amazon available for your use through a unified API. So Amazon Bedrock contains various foundational models from Amazon itself and also from other third-party providers. So Amazon Bedrock also offers a broad set of capabilities to build generative AI applications with security, privacy, and responsible AI inbuilt. So just know that your data are secured and there is and also your data are private to you, and the application you're building with generative AI will definitely follows the responsible AI terms. And also using Amazon Bedrock, you can easily experiment with and evaluate some foundational models for your use cases, privately customize them with your data using techniques such as fine tuning and retrieval augmented generation. So if you go into Amazon Bedrock console, you're going to see various foundational models that are meant for various specific tasks. So if you want to customize them into your own domain specific task, so there is a technique called fine tuning, which means you fine tune the model to your own tastes, then integrate the model into your application. So I'm going to demo Amazon Bedrock Playground, which is just a place in which you can go into an Amazon Bedrock console and play with various foundational models to see what you are doing before you start integrating them into your application. I'll be sharing my screen now. Please wait while I share my screen.
All right. So while we're waiting,
All right, Jose, it seems that we cannot hear you. I don't know. I think there's a minor issue from your mic. You can work on that. I think what Jose was trying to explain is that while we're waiting for Ayomide to come up with the screen for the demo section, if you have any question, you can always ask in the Q&A. The Q&A is that box right at the bottom of your screen with a question mark, right? You can, no matter what the question is, as long as it pertains to generative AI, we would always come through to give you the best answers. And also, if you want to book a one-on-one consultation in order to get a more tailored answer to your question, you can always click on the link that is being dropped in the Q&A also. The calendar link that is being dropped in the Q&A to book a one-on-one questions. One-on-one section. Thank you so much. Ayomide, are you ready now for the demo section? Ayomide, if you are talking, you are currently muted.
Yes, I'm ready. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to walk you through a demo on Amazon Bedrock. So like I said, Amazon Bedrock is an AWS service that makes creation of generative AI application easy. So this is Amazon Bedrock console. So now we are in the console. So I just go into the Amazon Bedrock section. So if I click on here, you see various things that it entails. So it entails, so from here you can see various providers, various foundational models providers, and also this place contain various models that are available, and you can also build your own model using the custom model section. Can you all see my screen? See my screen, please. Can anyone hear me?
We can see your screen, Ayomide. Go ahead. We are seeing the home page of Amazon Bedrock at the moment.
Okay. Okay, so this is Amazon Bedrock. I'm going to navigate to Amazon Bedrock Playground, which is a section in which you can play with various foundational models before you start integrating it into your application. So now I'm going to navigate to, so as you can see, there are chat sections where you can choose from various.
Sorry, Ayomi, your screen is static. Your screen is static. The only thing we're seeing currently is Amazon the easiest way to build and scale generative AI.
Can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, so let me start again. So this is Amazon Bedrock, right? So if you take a look at the left side, you will see various options are available. So from here, you can see there are various examples. This provider contains various generative AI models providers that you can check. And this base model also contains the various models that are available for you to start using. And also this custom model is where you can also import your own model or start building your own model from the scratch. So this is where we are going to be working on. So this is Playground. So Playground section is a place which you can go into in the Amazon Bedrock to start playing around all these foundational models and see what you are doing before you start integrating them with your application. So we are going to play with various models that are available. So let's start with the tests foundational models. So there are also various foundational models in which you can use for test generation, test summarization, and so on and so forth. So let's see some examples. From here, you can see various foundational models providers. This is Amazon, and these are third-party providers. So let's use this one for by Anthropic. So let's find one for test generation. You can see various things in which these models are doing, right? This is one for content generation. So you can use this to generate various blogs. You can use to generate blog on the internet. And this is one also for editing tests. You can also use to, okay, let's just check it out instead of me training. So let's check it out and see what it does. Let's use this model. So this is one by Jurassic 2 Ultra. So this is also a Gen AI foundational models provider. So let's use this one for summarizing tests. You can use generative AI for your various tasks. So this playground is just somewhere you can come to see how the generative AI application work before you start integrating them into your codes. pick another model. I'm trying to enlarge these parts that contain our meant to be large even as it come up. It's not large.
Yeah, I think we just go into the other demo.
Yeah, I want to show another thing. Okay. So this is a model for generating image, right? According to your prompt. So this model can be used to generate image according to whatever prompt you give it. So you can give it whatever prompt and it's going to generate it. It's going to generate an image for you based on the prompt you input. So for example, let's try and generate an image on, let's say, a bed on a car. Let's wait while our image loads. Generative AI, so Bedrock Playground is a section in which you can just come into, then play with various foundational models to see what they are capable of. Then you start to think about creating them into your various application or building generative AI application as a whole. So this one that we're using now is an image model. It's an image generation model which you can use to generate image based on prompts. So after testing this out, you can then start to think about building your generative AI model using this image generation foundation model. And this and more are what you can do for you at Secure Intelligence Limited. So let's wait while our picture comes up so we can also demo another model.
Thank you so much, Ayomide. So while that is going on, I want to read out some of the questions that I have here. So Shalom asks that, does Bedrock allow me to upload my already trained model for my specific business domain?
Okay, yes, sure. You can import your model that you have already trained into Bedrock. Then you start building your generative AI application.
Okay. I hope that question has been answered. Then, okay. This question can both be answered by either Yomide or Bamishe. Okay, so another question says, I thank you for this informative session. How hard is it for someone without a programming background to enter the Gen AI space? Okay, I don't know if
Okay,
that's...
I can take that. Can you hear me?
Thank you, Bamishe. Yes, I can hear you, Bamishe.
Okay, so someone without programming skills coming into the generative AI space, I don't know, you still need some programming knowledge because we have to, what we are showing at the moment now, this is the console where you interact with the generative AI just to see how it works and all. But if you want to integrate it with your application, you have to interact with them programmatically. That we are calling AI, API rather. We are calling API. And as my colleague mentioned, are making use of a centralized API from Amazon Bedrock itself. So you still need a bit of knowledge of programming to be able to function in this role. So even besides that, you have to write some logic also in your application. So this is where the programming skills comes in handy. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, I think you did justice to that question. Before I pick other questions, I can see a lot of questions coming from other people. All right. Okay. Ayomide, are we good with good with the demo that we're trying to we're working on right now? Are we good?
Let's pick one, just one question.
Okay, we should take one more question. All right. So somebody asked in image generation configuration, what will be the effect of the field named negative prompt in the process? Not sure.
Let me take that.
I don't know if you understand that question.
Let me take that quickly.
Okay, Tolulope.
Yeah, so basically when you call a generative AI model, right, you do what we call prompting. So when we are talking of negative prompting, that means it is the opposite of prompting, largely speaking. So you are trying to tell the model, I don't want this in the results. So for example, when you said bed on a car, you can say, I don't want human beings in the image, something like that. And then it gives you an image without human beings inside of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tolulope. I don't know, was that question answered? You can maybe give a thumbs up so that we know if that question has been answered. So, Ayomide, are we good now? Should we proceed with the demo before I call out other questions? Ayomide, can you
Yes,
hear me?
let me share my screen. I lost connection
All right.
for a while.
Okay, so while your connection comes up again, let me read another question. So somebody asks, okay, don't worry, just continue with the demo, then we'll ask the question. Please, you can keep dropping your questions in the Q&A. I bet you we would answer your question. Ayomide, please.
Okay, thank you. So let's continue with our demo. So I lost connection for a while. That was why images did not load. So I've given it our prompts back. So it's going to generate a picture based on our prompts. It's a bed on a car. Let's wait for the model to help us search for that and bring out the picture for us.
Continue. It seems your screen is off again.
My screen?
Okay. Yes, we can't see your screen again. Okay, so while that is happening, let me state this question. Is there a difference between generative AI and NLP? So this is a question from Collins. Is there a difference between generative AI and NLP? I
Okay,
think you
I
want
don't know.
to take that, right?
I
All
don't
right,
know if Ayomide wants to
please
take
go.
that or Ayomide. Okay, let
Okay,
me
let me
go ahead.
okay, you can go
Eh?
ahead. You can go ahead, or do you want me to
You
go
want to
ahead?
take? Okay. Okay, so like we have mentioned earlier, generative AI is used to generate content, and we have different type of content. We have videos, we have text, we have images. But NLP, which stands for natural language processing, now they are mainly foundational models that generate text. They deal with text, and they are used for text tags in AI generally. So, for example, now text summarization, text generation, all these things, all these are made use by NLP. So I hope that answered the questions.
Okay, I believe that that answers the questions. I don't know if
Yeah.
So to add to that,
are
so
you
Gen
satisfied
AI
with
is
that?
Gen AI is just
Okay.
like extension of NLP. So see it as that. So it's just making natural language processing easier. That's what generative AI is there to solve. Make building of AI application easier than ever before.
Okay. Thank you so much. So Emily, are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Please tell us what's the progress on the image you're trying to generate. Are you there, Emily?
Yes, I'm here. As you can see, it's rolling.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for it to also come up as well.
Okay. You said you wanted to show us another demo. Can you maybe move to that other one while we wait for the image to be generated? Is that
Right.
okay by you?
That's cool. So I also want to show you a demo on personalization recommendation. So we all know it means to be recommending products to your user, right? So for example, if you go to all those retail websites, where you shop for stuff. So when you search for maybe for a product, for one product, and you see it recommending other products for you as well. So that's what personalization recommendation is about. So we've built one, and also you can, and for example, if you also go to maybe YouTube or all those video streaming platform, so you can see that when you watch one video, it will recommend other video that is also looking like what you just watched for you, just in case you might be interested in it. So that is what personalization recommendation is all about. I'm going to show you a demo on one. So, but this one is built. So the model for this only contains AWS services, right? So if we search for, so we can use it to search for various AWS services, and it's going to recommend other services that can also do the same job. So we at Secure Intelligence Limited can also help you build that kind of personalization recommendation model, which you can integrate into your application, and you can start recommending various products to your application users, right? So I'm going to show you personalization recommendation that has been built on AWS services. So the data that this model contains only AWS services. So you can also train your own model, right? Or you use the foundational model and fine tune it to your taste, right? Or you train it to only your own domain specific data, just so the model can contain only the data from your company, right? So just so if users of your application log into your application and maybe search for a product, so it can recommend other products for them that they might be interested in. So I'm going to share. Let me share my screen on that part. So this is it. This personalized recommendation, as you can see, just a simple website, right? Just so you know, if you are building a generative AI application, it is good to use something like, make sure your UI and all of that are very much simple, just so your users can easily do whatever they want to do. So this is a personalized recommendation application that has been trained. So the model that the backend of this entail has been trained on AWS on cloud service. As you can see, we can name any key features that you need from AWS. So for example, let's say we need no SQL databases. It's going to bring out various databases AWS have. As you can see, we have Amazon Neptune, we have Amazon DynamoDB, and all of these are databases, right, in AWS. So let's give it another prompt. So let's say we want to search for, okay, let's say integrate, okay, let me say how to integrate front end with back end. It's also going to give us various recommendations on the kind of services that we can use. I can see we have AWS Amplify, we have Amazon API Gateway. So these are services in AWS that you can use to integrate your front end and back end. So what this is talking to a model, right? An embedded model, right? That has been trained on various AWS services and data, right? So you can also fine-tune yours. You can also train your baby from the scratch, right? With your domain-specific data, and you can integrate it into your application. So just so if the users of the application, maybe your retail application or whatever application you have, so if they search for any product, it's going to recommend other products to them according to what they search. So let's come back and to our Bedrock. Let me see if it has loaded, and if it doesn't load, I'm going to demo just one more thing. I'll pass over. So let me share the Bedrock console again. I want us to see how the playground works, just so you can also start experimenting with it on our own. So let's move back to test model and see. Let's move back to test model and see. We're just going to demo just 1 year and move over to other things that we are doing today. Okay, well, I don't know why this thing keeps showing little by little. So what we have here is a product specification, right? Take a look at it as I'm moving down. So it contains product specification of a phone, right? So instead of you reading through all this, so this model is used to answer questions. For example, if you have a document or content from the web, so you can upload maybe the old documents or even textbooks into this document, and you can ask the model the question. So instead of you reading through the old question, right? Instead of you reading through the old textbook on your own, so you upload it to this model, then you ask your question, and it's going to, so the model is going to help you read through the model and answer your question based on the content that you provide here. So I can say these are example questions, right? So number one, we have, my phone has a Type-C charger. Can I use the charger of my phone to charge this? forget the content that we have at the top is the content about a phone specification, right? So you can ask the model to read through this, right? And it's going to answer our question. And this is another question as well. Where is it manufactured? So if I click on run, so this model is going to help us read through the content we uploaded here, and it's going to answer our question based on that. As you can see, it is answering. Yes, you can use a USB-C charger to charge, blah, blah, blah. And also, it is also telling us that it's the manufacturing origin of this white paper is not in the document. That's because it cannot find it in the document. So we also have various models. We have chart model, we have image generation model, and so on and so forth that you can play and experiment with using Amazon Bedrock Playground console. So, and also this and many more are what you can help you do at Secure Intelligence Limited. So I'm going to pass over the mic to my colleague Oliver Bamshe to walk you through other projects on Bedrock and chatbots. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ayomide, for the presentation. So I'll be showing demo. So please, can you stop sharing your screen? Okay, thank you. So I want to talk about Party Rock now. That's Amazon Party Rock. So Party Rock is one of the latest solutions from Amazon. It was released last year. Yes. So now from the Bedrock we showed you earlier, you have to have an account with AWS, and that might be tedious for some people using your credit card and all to sign up. So, but with this Party Rock, you don't have to. You still have to sign up, but just signing in and signing up. Then after that, you can start playing around with generative AI. So you don't need to know how to code. You can build any AI apps with it. So let's start experimenting with it. Okay, from here also, we can check various examples of the app that have been built with this Party Rock. You can click on any of the solution. You can see we have book to screen, compare a book to its movie adaptation, team builder guide, ideas for team building, activity based on your preferences. So you can click on any of these just to check how it works. So you can navigate to partyrock.aws. So I don't know if the anchor can help me to put that in the chat section so that anybody that wants to experiment with it can start with that. Partyrock.aws. Okay, so now let's move down to working with this now. So you can see here, let's build app builder. So it will ask you for what you want to build. Describe what you would like your app to do. Okay, so for me now, I'm a cloud machine learning engineer. So sometimes I'm involved in writing technical blogs. So maybe I'm blocked and I don't know what to write about. So I can just use this to give my idea, a topic on what to write about this time around. So let's say tech blog post. Yeah. Okay. So I click on generate app. So after that, we wait for some seconds for you to create the whole environment for our application. So it's still loading, so we wait for that. So I don't know why we are waiting. If we could take some questions also.
So while we're waiting, let's go over a few more questions. Okay, so we have a question here. It says, why should I choose AWS generative AI instead of other options found online? Let me go over the question again. It says, why should I choose AWS generative AI instead of other options found online?
Okay, so let me answer that. So AWS is AWS cloud service provider, right? That means, and also Amazon Bedrock that we have shown, right? Which is an AWS service for creating generative application. So one of its features is it is serverless, right? Which means instead of you even building it on premises and managing servers and all of that, so AWS will help you manage the server, and also it is also built with security and privacy in mind, right? Which is it has inbuilt security, inbuilt privacy, and also you can easily scale, can easily build your model just within a day, or within weeks, instead of you waiting for months or for years. And also, we also know that AWS is a leading service provider, right? Which means you can also benefit from the large economics of scale, right? So you only pay for what you use, and you like, for example, all the models that we have there. So it's only when your models are being used that you pay for them, instead of you having the models not doing anything and you keep on paying for it. So I believe I'm able to answer your question.
So thank you very much for that response. I'm sure it's a very insightful answer. So can we return back to the demo?
Yes, you can. Okay, so
Right.
after generating the app, this is what we have now. We have the topic. So tech blog topic generator. So it's our different widgets. We call this widget. So we have user input. This is where you input your prompt, what you want to tell the app to generate for you. So this is where they get the output. And you have another section here where you can interact with the model now to chat. So now you can click on this, one of the widgets, just to maybe let's say I want to add more, or I don't like the way they are being structured. You can resize them and move around things like this. Okay. So let's see also. Okay. Or maybe I don't like the way I'm coming. Okay, you can actually delete any of the widgets from here also. So let's just see how we can play around with it. Okay, but before that, let me see if I can. Okay, I want to add another widget. Now you can delete the widget, you can add another widget. So let me say I want to create another widget for image generation. So I can change the topic here. This is widget 4, so I can change it to image. So, and this particular image widget is making use of stable diffusion, one of from the Bedrock that we demo earlier on. So that's one of the model available to work with in Amazon Bedrock. So as you can see, it has changed. So now let's go back to here. So let's say I want to write on generative AI, how it is being used in oil and gas industry, and maybe I just want something creative, a topic on it. So let me say generative AI in oil and gas industry. So I will wait for it to generate a topic for me. So it's already loading already. Is okay now, very fast. Is outputting some response already. So these are the responses. So it's still streaming the response. So let's wait for it to load. So it's already generating image already also. So you can see we have oil and gas, something related to oil and gas image here. So now let's just walk through some of the prompts here that it output here. Okay, how generative AI can help discover new oil reserves. Discover how generative AI model could analyze geological data to identify untapped oil and gas. So and so on and so on. You can see from here also the last one, reducing environmental impact with generative methane leak detection. So I think these are one of the use cases where you can use generative AI in oil and gas industry. So now I would like to move on to another demo now. So you can actually start working very fast with AWS generative AI from what we have been showing you. And if you finally decide to use it in your application, you can reach out to us through our consultation links rather that has been dropped in the chat question and answer section to reach out to us so that I can book a section with us. So now I'll be showing you through a chatbot that has been trained with one of the models found on the Amazon Bedrock. So this is just a simple website. So if you click on this chat button here, it will expand. and you can see chat support. Hi, my name is Sam. How can I help you? So you can just start by saying hi. So I will wait for some seconds for you to respond to your prompt. So it will be doing that shortly. Okay, so hello, how can I help you today? So I can just, because, okay, this chatbot now, it has been trained on a general knowledge subject, not a domain specific knowledge. So if you would like to make use of this chatbot, you want to fine tune it with your domain specific knowledge. For example, your business documents, various things you could work with this, maybe to interact with your online customers. You can train it with that also. So let me just ask this chatbot maybe a general knowledge now, a general question rather. So let me say, why is the sky? So let's wait for you to respond to that question. Okay, so we have our answer. The sky appears blue to us because the Earth atmosphere scatters sunlight in all directions. Yeah, as you can see, we have a reasonable answer here. So these are many use cases you can use with generative AI. And we thought that CIL, this is one of the things we built, so you can reach out to us to work on that. So I'll be going back now to talk on responsible AI. So while I wait for the anchor to show up the screen, so what is the responsible AI? So once you hear me talking about AI, just now I'm also referring to intelligence now in an analytical manner. Okay, I think we're having it. Okay, the screen is coming up now. Okay, so it's one of the where we can make use of artificial intelligence in an ethical, trustworthy, and socially responsible manner. So a lot of industry, organization, government, and standard and policy makers, they are already looking into it. They are developing different frameworks and standards to make sure people are making use of AI in a responsible manner. For example, ISO, they are already working on a standard, on a policy now to make sure people follow this process. So in the next slide, I will be talking about the dimensions or properties that your solution, your generative AI solution should exhibit. So one of them is fairness. Okay, now before I start talking about this, in the past when AI was introduced to the tech world, we have seen some different solutions that have bias towards maybe people of color or the type of genders, maybe women. So for example, now if you put a text out now that I want the AI to complete it for you, say Dash is the CEO, expecting an answer like a man or woman. So generally it will respond with man, while the CEO could be a woman also. So that's the form of bias that we have been trying to eradicate from AI now. So, and also because AI in general, they are being trained on information received from human, like data collected from human. So in the process of collecting this data, human, they tend to show some biases, and all these biases are being transferred to the models itself automatically. So now you need to remove all these biases. So these are what we want to be talking about now. So the first thing is fairness. So what is fairness as regards to our AI? So that's ensuring AI does not amplify biases. That's what I've been talking about earlier on. And also you have to consider how the impact of this solution on your stakeholders. And moving on, we're talking about transparency, making AI system and their decision understandable to stakeholders impacted. So when you are building a solution now, you have to interact with your stakeholders to let them know the impact and how this works, the data being collected, and how the data is being secured. So also we have veracity and robustness. So there's something called hallucination in AI. So if your AI is not well trained, like we have been talking about, maybe it has not been fine-tuned to your business database itself. So it might hallucinate, and what hallucinate means is, excuse me, what hallucination means is it will tends to sorry, it will tends to generate factual facts that, because it does not have the right answer to your question. It will just come up with something, and if you did not check deeply, you will take that as the correct answer, or you think is correct because of the way it will put the answer. So also we have privacy. So you have, while building your AI solution, you have to make sure the data has been secure and the confidentiality of your client, maybe their data, they are being secure. And this is one of the things that AWS provide. All the solutions on AWS, they are being encrypted. The data you are putting in your VPC now, they are being making use of Bedrock. They are being encrypted, so there's no need to worry about privacy now. And also, because you are making use of foundational models, so there's something called foundational models, there's something called base models. Though they are the same, but I will be explaining shortly now. So the base model, they are the original model. For example, now the software developer, you go to someone else's repository to clone a repo. That's their codes. You put it in your own repo. So the same thing applies there. So you are going to the repo of the these foundational models providers. You are going to their repo as seen on Bedrock. You are cloning it to your own environment. Let's say your VPC on AWS. So now you are bringing the model down to your data, not like you are taking your data to the model. So with this method put in place, that means your data is safe. They are not being used to train the model again. They are not being transferred to the model, the third party model provider again. So in the next, I will be talking more on the dimension of responsible AI. So next, we'll be talking about security. So when we talk about security now, we are talking about safeguarding your AI solutions from malicious attack. So there are different solution on Amazon, that AWS, that can be used to protect your solutions. So also safety, let's talk about safety. Your solution should be some form of safety. For example, if you ask AI solution now, who is the best driver between a man and woman? So normally that's the form of bias, because your AI solution should not be answering that type of question. So now you should put in some measure in place to make sure that all this type of prompt should not be answered by your application. And also ethical use. You ensure that your AI is used for beneficial purposes. So this cannot be overstated. So next, we'll be talking about some tips to make sure that you have a responsible AI solution. So to start with, we'll be talking about putting in place guardrails to make sure that your solutions, they are safe. So as I mentioned earlier, please can you go to the next slide? As I mentioned earlier, we talk about by removing biases from your solution. So implementing guardrails to mitigate stereotyping. So you can make use of Bedrock now to implement this. So you ensure that some prompts will not be answered when they are being asked from your foundational model. So these are one of the ways you can make sure you are building a responsible AI solution. Also, you can build a culture that encourages discussion. So you brainstorm among your team, and also you have a diverse set of people in your team. For example, you have people of different color. If you have a global workforce, make sure you have people of different color, different gender. With this diverse set of people, you'll be able to brainstorm and bring up different ideas and knowledge, so that you don't have a biased solution. So in the next slide, we'll be talking more on tips for responsible AI. So please go to the next slide. Okay, so next we'll be talking about careful creation of data. So as we mentioned earlier on, during the process of collecting data by human, there might be some element of biases. So make sure that while you are collecting data, there are no form of biases in your data. And also, you can make use of machine learning and model disgorgement. I know this will sound like another buzzword, but this is in the simplest form. What this means is removing biases from your model. For example, you've discovered that, okay, this particular data is exhibiting some form of bias. So this is the model, this is the method you can use to remove bias from your model without affecting the performance of your model. And also we have what we call RLHF, that is a reinforcement learning from human feedback. So this makes use of combination of human effort and supervised learning to fine-tune your model to make sure they are generating the correct response and removing biases from your data. And lastly, we're talking about integrating responsible AI into your entire machine learning lifecycle. Okay, so in the machine learning lifecycle, we have different processes from defining your business problem to the machine learning problem formulation to model deployment, monitoring, and all. So you have to integrate responsible AI into all these processes. So I think with this, I'll be coming into the conclusion with this quote from a popular professor from Stanford, a professor of radiology. So he said, radiologists that make use of AI will not replace radiologists, but radiologists that make use of AI will replace radiologists that does not make use of it. I will come again. AI will not replace radiologists, but radiologists that make use of AI will replace radiologists that make use of AI. So in that essence, as an organization, what will be your response to the emergence of generative AI? Will you be part of the people that make use of it to grow the business, or will you be part of the people that are being replaced by people that are making use of it? So that will come to the end of our presentation. So we'll be entertaining more questions now. That's if we still have more time. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that insightful presentation. I'm sure we have all learned a lot about the importance of generative AI in our businesses and our services as well. So please, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section while we wait for others to join. Bamishe, we have a question. I don't know if you'll be willing to answer. So the question says, should I be worried about copyright issues with content generated from these models, from these AI models?
Okay, I will take that. Okay, so as regard content generated from models, so in our definition and our explanation, we talk about how this model, they are creating new content. So that means that content can never be found anywhere on the internet. So there is no need for having concern about copyright issue. Although initially when this model were introduced, there are some models the content from an existing content. So you shouldn't be having problem with that. So I hope that answered the question. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much for that response. All right, so we're moving on to another question. It says, when building generative AI solutions on AWS, who is responsible for handling the model hallucinations? AWS, developers, or users?
Okay, so let me take that. You are the one to cater for hallucination, right? The models sometimes. So let me just tell you, there's a technique used for that. If, for example, assuming the model you are working with was trained maybe in 2021 or so, right? The data that the model contains is only data before that the time it was launched. So, for example, you now ask it a question like, who won the AFCON 2024, right? The model does not have that kind of data in its data set. So there is a process. So the model will only just give you some kind of hallucination answer, right? And you would think it is right. So that's where LangChain comes in. So LangChain is also an open source framework, right? That you can integrate with Amazon Bedrock to make sure your model is up to date, just so it will not hallucinate. So LangChain is used to feed in more data to your model, just so it will be up to date, instead of you starting to train your model all over again. So I believe you get that. So with that, your model will contain, like, it will contain content that are up to date and be able to answer various questions without hallucinating.
All right. Thank you very much, Emily, for that.
More
answer.
explicitly, just to buttress on what Emily has said, right? Taking care of hallucinations will be the activity of the developers. That's one. And secondly, the way you use LangChain to take care of hallucination, we term it as RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Basically, augmenting data, like I just said, into your model. Yeah. Over to you, Josie.
All right, thank you very much, Tolu, for that. We are really grateful for that insight. All right, so thank you once again to everyone who has taken out time to join us for this webinar. And like we mentioned, a link to Party Rock is also in the Q&A section. So if you want to play around with the generative AI there's a link on the Q&A section where you can access Party Rock AWS. All right, so as we mentioned at the start of this webinar, this session is being recorded, and at the end of this webinar, you receive an email with a web replay of this webinar. It will also be posted on our social media platforms as well as our YouTube channels. And also, if you need free AWS digital training, we have the link to our AWS digital training on our screen. You can see it there, https://secureintel.com/CIL Academy AWS training. You can also connect with us on our social media platforms. You can connect with us on Instagram at CIL_teams, LinkedIn Secure Intelligence, Twitter at CIL_teams, Facebook at CIL Teams, and YouTube at youtube.com/@CIL_teams. And as we mentioned at the start, if you want to book a consultation with our team of certified cloud and machine learning engineers, you can click on the link in the Q&A section. There's a link for you to book a consultation with us. We can also help develop your own generative AI for your business that is specific to your business domain as well. So thank you very much for joining this webinar. See you again. Thank you.